hi, Darko. Strategy. It's a word that everyone's always talking about, but no one ever seems to agree on what exactly it means. In the context of business, what is your definition of a corporate strategy?
Well, basically, for me, strategy means that you know where you want to go and what you want to do. So on one side, it's a relatively loose description of what's important for you, where you are going, and so forth. But I also believe that the strategy needs to be quite a bit more tangible also for people to be able to identify themselves with that, which means that the whole strategy needs to be accompanied by specific milestones that the company wants to achieve and supported heavily also by the financials. And what I mean with financials, basically by plans into what the company will invest in, what kind of results it will achieve, from where, and so forth.
You mentioned what kind of results. In general, what kind of outputs should a good strategic plan have?
Well, good strategic plan should basically be concentrated on the growth of the company and on basically profitability for the long term. Now, the company may decide to sacrifice profitability for the sake of growth, which is legitimate if it wants to. But those elements basically need to be really part of a good strategy. Now, why? Because if the company starts to stagnate and basically doesn't grow anymore, sooner or later it will be in a decline mode. And with that, basically it means that the company is slowly failing, right? So that's why growth, profitability, those two elements, a mix of those, needs to be part of a good strategy.
And in this digital era, more and more businesses have quite a lot of quite detailed KPIs. What separates the strategy from just a set of good KPIs?
Well, I don't see strategy as completely separated from a good set of KPIs. So I do believe that you can also describe, as I've mentioned earlier, strategy with KPIs because they are more tangible, people can easily identify with them. Because of the concrete KPIs, they sometimes even know in which direction to kick and to push and to pull and basically to make things happen. So I think that strategy is not separate from the KPIs.
That makes sense. How often should a company renew an updated strategy?
Well, it shouldn't do that on a monthly basis, definitely not. It doesn't hurt if it looks at the strategy every 6 months or so in the appropriate bodies, but it definitely should review the strategy at least on a yearly basis.
And when it comes to actually implementing a strategy, what are some of the big mistakes that people usually make?
Well, one mistake that people make is thinking about strategy that it's only words, few sentences, very general, and so forth. I really don't believe in that because if you try to describe the strategy only with that, without the necessary translation into what we discussed earlier, certain KPIs and more tangible things that the company needs to achieve, you will not be able to properly manage and govern the company and all of your colleagues and so forth. So, yeah.
Darko, thanks very much for talking about strategy. I look forward to talking again.
Thanks, Anton. Interested to learn more? Visit www.dg180.ch and get in touch.